Well, hi everyone. My name is Mandy Pinckley, and I'm really excited to be here today as part of the Autistically Wired series. Today, I'm joined by Marissa, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more about her experiences, her creativity, and her perspective. Marissa, thank you so much for being here, and I'd love to start by just having you introduce yourself and share a little bit about what you're studying and the creative work you enjoy.
All right, thank you for having me. My name is Marissa. I am studying psychology, and in my free time, I enjoy reading, writing, and sketching, as well as creating video content for my socials as of recently.
That's really awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'd love to go a little bit deeper into your identity. When did you first begin to understand your autistic identity, and how has that understanding changed over time?
So I've always sort of known that I was autistic because I was diagnosed around 4 years old. But it wasn't until my freshman year of high school that I really started to notice like the the effect of my diagnosis. Since I started doing projects on mental health and autistic advocacy, and I just really started to connect with others online and make friends who had shared experiences.
I really love that perspective, and especially I can relate on the virtual world being really helpful. You know, what is something about being autistic that you feel has positively shaped your strengths or your perspective?
I've definitely seen my attention to detail in uh, the workplace be a positive aspect of my autistic identity, especially when there's certain scenarios or safety procedures that may need to be addressed or updated. Um, I also do think that my use of accommodations like the sunflower lanyard, noise canceling headphones, and fidget tools has been helpful. Definitely growing in confidence in that aspect.
Yeah, I love you sharing about that. And that's really meaningful and how advocacy can look different for everyone. And like how you were saying about the headphones, you tend to support awareness in the quieter and more subtle ways. So what does that advocacy look like for you in your daily life?
So day-to-day life advocacy, obviously it can be louder, it can be quiet, but for me, it's more uh, personalized self-expression, like just wearing the sunflower lanyard. I'm not sure how many people recognize it in public, but I find that it's a comforting and confidence bringing representation of who I am and how I perceive the world. Um, let's see. Um, and could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
So what does like the some sunflower symbol, what does it mean to you?
Oh, it definitely is a form of self-expression, and just if somebody recognizes it, it just symbolizes that I may need like some time or further assistance with a task or just time to process in like conversations.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And it gives me a deeper perspective on the sunflower lanyard. And we were talking a little bit ago about your interest and how does what role does creativity play in how you communicate and process experiences and express yourself? We talked a little bit about it, but going deeper.
Oh yes, creativity is definitely one of my communication. It definitely plays a part in my communication styles. As a kid, I would make like expressive characters and character designs to communicate emotions. Um, as time went on, I learned to put my thoughts and ideas into writing, and verbal communication is a challenge, but it's getting less of a challenge as of lately as I continue to work on advocacy and speaking aloud in my classes and presentations.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's really powerful what you said about, how you were drawing and expressing character designs to convey those emotions. And to close, for people, younger autistic people that might, listen to this and are trying to figure out their own path in school, work, or life, what would you want to share with them?
There would be two things that I would like to share. The first, of course, is there is always someone who wants you to like be there and like participate, even if it's just silently participating. You're always needed somewhere. And the second is my one of my favorite quotes from like the Cinderella live action is to have courage and be kind to yourself and to others.
That's a really powerful quote. And, thank you, Marissa, so much. I really appreciate you sharing your story and your perspective. And it was a really meaningful conversation. And thank you to anyone watching. And we hope this conversation offered any insight, connection, and maybe even the sense of possibility of, the strengths of autism. Thank you
Yes,
guys so much.
absolutely. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Autistically Wired. And thank you so much, Marissa, for coming back. You know,
I'm glad to be here again.
so we wanted to, dive a little bit in your psychology background and your college experience so far. Like how you first became interested in psychology.
So I first became interested in psychology around my final years of high school when I realized that my projects on autism advocacy and gaining insights from autistic advocates online really just drew me in and inspired me to find out more about autism and advocating for uh, like accessibility reasons. Sorry, my dog.
Yeah, no worries. And that's awesome how you want to help the community and help with accessibility and bringing more awareness to it. And like going into college knowing that, how has your experience been as at college being autistic and studying psychology?
In the beginning, it was very stressful for me to accommodate myself to the new workloads and new um, systems, such as the accommodations. But I really found um, I really found the content in the classes to be engaging, and I was actively learning in besides my time in high school where it was a little less structured in terms of my interests.
I'm really glad that college was able to spark those interests. And one thing that I think a lot of people, myself included, can relate to is that stressful transition between high school and college. Do you have any little tips or recommendations to anyone to get through that?
I definitely would suggest finding or maintaining your support system. My parents were a big help in maintaining my uh, regulation. And besides the support system, or other forms of support systems would be like knowing how to contact your professors and your accommodations teams, and understanding how the college process works to the best of your ability.
I'm so glad that you've had your support from your family, and that's so important, like you said, self-regulation and like acknowledging when it gets a little off. And like you talked about some challenges, like is there anything in particular that you happened and you had to navigate through?
It was definitely the navigating accessing resources for classes, such as the accommodations and finding like out how to access the accommodations because I am an online student, which makes it a bit harder to communicate. But um, I have learned how to reach out when I need to and to communicate the best that I can in an email or via phone call.
I'm so glad that you've successfully gotten those accommodations. Is there any specific accommodations you were able to get relating to virtual like
Yes,
schooling?
yes.
You talk about them?
So virtual school, it they allow me 100% extra time on tests and quizzes and extended time requests if needed for about 2 or 3 days past the original deadline, as long as it's not the end of the course. Um, but I did have recently a struggle with the uh, extended time request due to it being an oral presentation. So presentations are not included in my extended time. So that did bring a bit of difficulty, but I am grateful for the accommodations that I do have.
How did you cope with that situation?
How did I cope? So I definitely did some self-regulating. I took a step back when I got a bit overwhelmed by the deadline. And I did end up getting it done before the deadline. I got it done on the date of the due date. So um, just time management and self-regulation.
That's really awesome that you were able to do it. Did you do it in front of your class?
It was a pre-recorded oral presentation, but sometimes verbal communication, like oral presentations, are a bit complicated for me. I can't always get my point across, and I sort of miss the point. But so time management and learning how to communicate verbally is a big thing.
And about communication, like with your professors or like the college program, is there anything that you've seen that they misunderstand about autistic students, especially in psychology?
I would say that there is a misunderstanding between communication styles. I prefer to do um, written responses, and the oral communication is not always the best. But that is and when I receive feedback, it's sort of misunderstood on my end on what they are meaning by certain responses to my work.
Yeah, that makes sense about the differences in communication, but I'm glad you are able to advocate for yourself to say like I need this. And also you're willing to work with them. You're like, all right, I can understand an oral presentation, you can't really push that much. But so I like that you guys are working together, meeting in the middle a bit, it seems like. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, yes.
And is there any specific populations that you'd feel drawn to support? I know we talked a little bit about it, but where do you think your passion's going to be in psychology?
Definitely in autistic advocacy and research fields. I like the idea of being a researcher the most, and learning what accommodations are best for different people, like just individually working with them to find out how they can succeed and do their best in whatever their work, their school, their personal lives. Yeah.
Well, that's really inspiring, when you want to give back to the community you're with. And
Mhm.
like, is there any particular research you'd like to do?
Research definitely, like community research. Uh, Not sure exactly where or when I will get a research position, but I am working on my classes to uh, enhance my research skills.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I believe you'll get a program. And do you think that there's any strengths to being autistic in the psychology field.
Oh, yes, there is definitely strengths for autistic people in the um, psychology field. Definitely the personal insights help, but also the range of perspectives on different psychological disorders and like issues surrounding ethics and moral treatment. Well, I'd say those are the main ones.
Yeah, that's really important. And I'm so glad that you have found your passion and what you want to do. And if so you still have a little bit to go in your college before you graduate. And is there anything you're worried about coming up?
Coming up, I'm worried a bit about my current course, the one I had issues with the time extension accommodations. Um, but it's something I can work through. It's something I can improve upon. Uh, I did receive some feedback on an assignment earlier today, um, and I am working through processing the feedback and learning how I can do better in the future in future assignments.
Yeah, I'm glad that it's, helpful feedback and that you're giving yourself time to process it. And is there anything else you're excited for in the rest of your program?
I'm definitely excited to graduate and to find out what I can do um, with um, my future schooling and my career opportunities, um, and what that means for being a part of the autistic community.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing everything you have today. Is there anything you'd like to share with the audience or any advice, a quote?
Yes, I find this quote very helpful when I'm under pressure or just feeling down or overstimulated. It's from the Cinderella 2015 movie. It goes, have courage and be kind. And I like to add to yourself and to everyone around you.
I love that quote. And you said it was from what movie?
The Cinderella, the live action. It's
Yeah, that's an awesome movie. And, thank you so much for today.